know Mackenzie-Childs.
You do? Okay, well, I'm Victoria MacKenzie-Childs.
You're say what?
I'm Victoria.
You're it?
Yeah.
Oh my God. well,
Hi, so I have some more cool videos to share and some final things to say about Victoria that I didn't really have time to show or tell you. And then I can sort of put a ribbon on all of this. But all this was unplanned. I mean, when I got the dreaded phone call last week from Victoria's assistant about her passing, it never occurred to me to even make a tribute video, let alone a part 2. Just 2 quick things I want to address before we have a little more fun. There were a lot of comments on the tribute video expressing justified contempt for the new Mackenzie-Childs, and I just want to address that in my own way. And secondly, I'm faceless here mainly because the subject of this channel is divine metaphysics and the science of Christ, and it's not about human personality. And so I just happen to be friends with Victoria, who also happened to have been a lifelong studier of these subjects, which is why I consider her a spiritual mentor. And so this channel isn't about me or my personality, it's about the science. But, you know, if for some reason it's important for you to know who I am, I can just be found on the Scientific Christian Instagram page. So in 2019, I realized I had so many creative humans sitting in my phone that I decided to create a series called Humans in My Phone, where I'd meet up with the humans inside my phone and I'd call them microdocs. They had to be filmed on my phone, be exactly 60 seconds long, and the subject's phone number had to be in my phone. In other words, a friend of mine. And I shot 100 of them during the summer of 2019. Well, one of these shoots was with Victoria on Yankee Ferry. Here that is, and I'll just say a few more things after.
They've defined art by materials, paint, violins, sculptures, but nobody ever says that a snowplow is artistic, right? Children, right from the beginning, this child is creative, and this child is not creative. That happens to the structure of humanity. People call me an artist, and I don't want to be called an artist. It has a connotation that is so limiting. I've sort of started loving the idea of artlessness. Artlessness is really without all of the trappings of the artist as the world has defined it. We are all artists. We are all reflecting infinite creativity. I like your ring.
Oh, thanks. It's an opal.
It's an opal? A fire? No. What kind of opal would it be?
Black opal.
A black opal. That's incredible, Gregor. Let's go.
And by the way, that perfectly timed cat meow at the end was totally real. I didn't add a meow in editing or anything.
Hello, my channel mammals. It's good to see you.
It's been incredible, this outpouring of love from random fans around the world. I didn't expect it to reach so many people who never met or even knew of her, yet had so much love for her like they had lost a family member. Victoria had that effect. I mean, she treated everyone like they were the only person in the room. And that wasn't just for cameras. I mean, she was like that all the time, terminally curious and childlike towards everything. I think of Jesus saying, "Be as little children," and she was the embodiment of that. I've seen her, I don't know, 100 times in my life, and even I was still like, is this woman even real? And every time I saw her, I was starstruck, and not because of anything she did physically, but because of this cascade of love that poured out of her every moment. I mean, it wasn't normal. A funny little anecdote I forgot to put in the tribute video. We've been trying to sell Yankee Ferry, and we still are, so if you want to buy it, just, email me. But her dream was to sell it and then live in a Tesla Cybertruck. Not just drive around in one, but actually live in one. And she was dead serious about that. It was the most Victoria idea I'd ever heard. Somehow I think if Elon Musk found out Victoria wanted to live in one, he would, make a special one set aside with a toilet and a shower. Regarding this injustice she and Richard faced in losing their company, I didn't want the video to be about anything other than celebration of her, but the new Mackenzie-Childs have essentially discarded her from ever existing. I mean, they've gone as far as expunging all record of her on the internet in any way associated with the brand that she created with Richard. I mean, no one at Mackenzie-Childs would even have a job without this woman. And maybe it's just the leadership of the company and some of the younger underlings probably feel differently, but look, it was a legal proceeding and you can read about it on the internet. I'm not a lawyer, but it didn't mean that outside of the courts, they could have shown her a little dignity and respect. Now, nobody's perfect. I'm not saying everything Victoria did along the way was perfect, but they've been nothing but dismissive and unresponsive. I had reached out to them a few times very cordially to tell them Yankee was for sale and just being very civil and inclusive and just wanting to hear back from them. Not a peep from anyone. It's inexplicable, but it's not surprising. You know, corporate greed and arrogance seems to trump decency and love. I mean, that's nothing new. You couldn't even reach out to her or check in with her once in a while. And a lot of comments on the first video were people that stopped buying MacKenzie-Childs when they learned how they were treating her. But what's funny is Victoria gets more attention and respect from actual people on the internet and in person than the entire company does trying to sell their new products, which kind of says all you need to know. And the irony is, despite all this, they tried to copy her. I mean, the new unquote Victoria is this lady, and I'm not going to mention her name or what I know about her from Victoria because I really don't want to stoop to a low level, but she's basically trying to desperately to do an impression of Victoria to manufacture the magic she brought to the brand. But obviously that could never be duplicated, and Victoria's true fans have a very finely tuned BS meter. And then, you know, when Victoria passed away last week, they came out with a statement saying they were mourning the loss and blah, blah, blah. They did it basically for the publicity. It couldn't be more telling that it took Victoria dying for them to say anything nice about her. And lastly, I didn't really mention this in the first video, and some of you guys may know this, but Victoria was a lifelong Christian Scientist, meaning she studied and practiced the science of Christ or divine metaphysics. And there's a ton of misinformation and misinterpretation out there about Christian Science. A big one is that it's not based on the Bible, which is completely untrue. It is exclusively based on the Bible and primitive Christianity and Jesus's ministry. So this channel is really just to spread what divine science actually is and how it's not really a religion, but a way of understanding how Jesus thought, prayed, and healed, and then applying that practically to your life, and you know how spiritual healing is still as strong as ever today. This isn't a religious channel. It's just a here's what reality really is channel. From my starting out in Christian Science as a young person and leaving it for most of my adult life, and actually returning to it about a year ago. And in the last few months, I've had so many inspired conversations with Victoria that in hindsight, I wish I would have recorded, obviously telling her I was recording them, just for you to see how enlightened she really was. I mostly make 60-second shorts that get right to the point and hopefully help people see themselves the way God sees them. Victoria lived life the right way. She led with love. She led with humility. She led with whimsy. And love is more powerful than greed, than arrogance, even more powerful than death. So let's keep close to our hearts the way she lived her life, as I'm sure we all will. And I wish you all a Victoria type of day.